What's going on YouTube? Thanks for tuning into the channel. Welcome to Oh So Simplified. Coming to you with a video here about why you need to think bigger. Thinking small is leading you to all of the issues in your life. So this video really is coming off the back of it's a couple weeks late, but off the new year, and just some of the things that I feel like I've learned on my last trip to Colombia. Not so much the trip itself; it was really just the exposure, putting myself out there, and going on a solo travel experience. So we're going to start this off with number one. Just your world is a lot smaller when you're not exposed to a lot. Now, some of the people that are watching this channel, you guys might be avid travelers. You guys might have been exposed to a lot of different things. So I might be, singing to the choir, but still, I think the point is relevant, and for the people who are not. Specifically for men, I think a lot of men, um, they live their lives through women. They wouldn't go to a place on their own, go to a nice restaurant on their own, go to a movie on their own, go traveling on their own until they get a woman, and then they go to these places really to impress the woman that they're with, or basically because they want to go to these places, whether it's restaurant, doing these things. But exposure really broadens your world in general. So that's really where we're going to start this off with. When I went to Colombia, really what it illuminated to me was one, all the opportunities and advantages I have being born in a country like the United States, and the things that I've done thus far in my life, because it's not like everybody here is successful. It's not like everybody here is doing well. There's plenty of people, struggling and scraping by, but the opportunity itself is something that's there. When you're in a third world country and you can see that the infrastructure is not built up, you're listening to places that only got electricity in the 2000s. If you're there, you really don't have the opportunity or real ability to move forward. All of their education is paid for. There is no public education. It didn't really seem like there was a ton of public assistance. Um, there's people there that are living in conditions that I really don't observe. Now, there's other parts of their culture where I think that they had a lot more fun. They don't focus as much on just purely work, 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 move, 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 which could also be a contributor to the development of the infrastructure. So there's a pro and a con, and I'm going to tie this all back together. That one, it let me know about the opportunity I have in America, but it also opened up the idea that I have options and things available to me that might not all be within, um, the country or the place that I live today. I live in New Jersey. It's very, very expensive. I bought a house here and I know the prices. Basically, for 30%, 40% in the nicest areas, I can buy the same thing. Now, you'd have to come out all cash for these things with Colombia, but something else to be said. But the culture, things like that, how far your dollar goes, and how you can start developing these plans that are way bigger than anything you could have thought of before you've had these experiences. Where I'm almost 100% positive. If it's not Colombia, someplace in Latin America, I am going to, make a second base, ideally in a beach town, where I can be, by the water. I can get for a very cheap price, have that ability, have that flexibility to go somewhere else that's in another country. I love the culture. The only thing I didn't really love was the food, but I digress. You can find good food anywhere. You just got to know what spots to go. But really, all in all, it opened my eyes that the world is much bigger than just my little bubble. Um, there's options all around the world, and that I should be thinking bigger. Why am I thinking about just trying to succeed in this little abode in New Jersey? Whether or not I'm traveling to, the Big Apple in New York, why don't I have these ideas that, like, I want to be able to build a life where I can live here and then part time during the, right now there's freaking 12 inches of snow. I do like snowboarding, but, being in 20-degree, 10-degree Fahrenheit cold is not the best. It was cool being in 90-degree weather. That I want to build a life where I can, maybe have a beach house where I go there during the winter months and enjoy myself maybe in the later fall months also go to enjoy myself and have that flexibility to go there and back. It's a 5 hour flight. Why not? Why not me in terms of that kind of idea? So that's the first part and really what kind of sparked this. The second part is going to be something I brought up before if you watch my videos, but honestly, not a ton of you watch my videos, so let me repeat it here. There's a book I read called 10x is easier than 2x, and I really like this book. Also, that same writer, his name is slipping my mind, but he also wrote a book about like be who you want to be now or something to that something to that effect. But both of these basically are saying, so 10x is easier than 2x. The main point of this is that when you have a big goal, it's going to change the way you think entirely. The only way for you to achieve and reach that particular goal is to change what you're doing in a radical way. If you just want to make an incremental step, make 10% more, even though he says 2x, it's kind of thought in more percentages. You want to make a little bit more. The only thing you're really going to think is that I just need to work harder. I just need to do what I'm doing that much more, and it's going to equal that much more jump. Where when you start to revolutionize your thinking and think in these big ways, tying it back, I want to have places not only around the country, around the freaking globe. I want to be, a polyglot, at least trilingual. I want to be able to speak different languages. I'm really going deep into learning Spanish and finding different ways that I can learn Spanish and things to that effect. Obviously, I am a single male. There are beautiful women in many, many other places than the United States. And there's different conditions. I don't want to go deep in that YouTube chill. I know a lot of these quote unquote passport bros is getting popped off for talking about some of these things. But if you have that ability, if you have the ability to learn another culture, go around the world, really be exposed to things, one, you become somebody valuable in terms of being able to share education to other people, but then you are the person that has their ear to the ground and has that understanding of what's really happening in the world from a first party standpoint. So the 10x is easier than 2x idea is that if you want to increase anything exponentially, there is not a million different things you could do. You can't just work twice as hard and get 10 times the result. You have to fundamentally do something different. You have to fundamentally increase your standards in multiple different ways. And the thing I really like about this book is that it's not about grind, and work yourself to the death. It's about thinking about doing the 80%, doing the big levers, doing the things that are really going to propel you. And then it also has a counterintuitive thought where it talks about taking, I think it was like, it's definitely at least 50 days of free rest time so that you can be engaged. But I think it was even like, 9 weeks, I guess, is about 50 days. Because there was a story he talks about taking 9 weeks where they're taking these huge amounts of time off, but still making exponentially more money than other people, doing exponentially more things. And it's really making me think about the activities I put into my life and what can I take out that's no longer serving me, and how can I change the way that I'm approaching things to get that exponential result in that 10x, 2x. Now, the last one I do want to just drop this, and this is really my motto for this whole year. As basically as long as I've been putting stuff out, I'm a fairly successful person. Most people, when they're around me, in terms of what I've achieved, from a financial standpoint, not a lot of people my age have a house, let alone in New Jersey. Not a lot of people have a multi-family house. They're renting it out to two different people, trying to manage that. I was not taught all these things. I'm doing all this on the fly. I have to learn all these things on the go. I started fighting a couple years ago. I'm in the top 10, if not ranked number 6 in North America of amateurs fighting. I'm fighting all people that are like 8 to 10 years younger than me. Where in your 30s, I'm 34. You're supposed to be kind of like, on your way out. A lot of people are complaining about their back and their knee and their leg when I go to work, and the people that are in my peer group, and I'm around these young bucks that never had an injury in their life. But all that's to say, you can always raise your standard to another level. What's comfortable for you and your goals might not match what other people are seeing. So although a lot of other people will constantly tell me you should be happy with what you have, and this is something Grant Cardone kind of instilled, not that I'm not happy and content and would want to be like another person or something, but I'm not happy with knowing that I'm not doing everything to my potential, knowing that I'm doing things that are taking me away from that 10x goal. And if that really is my goal, that's really where I want to move. I need to raise my standard. I need to raise what's acceptable in my life, and I need to make moves to move in that direction. And really, with this whole year, that's the main focus. This is priority number two. Number one is obviously money, because now that I have these goals, these ideas of traveling the world, traveling a lot more. Like my next goal, not so much for this year. This year is just 2 trips. Next year it's going to be 4 weeks of vacations, and 4 weeks, whether it's in different places, 2 times in the same place, and 2 times in other places. So it's 3 different trips, whatever. But to be more on that travel tip, be more explorative in terms of investments, and then in terms of wherever my life goes, if I find somebody that I want to, continue something here, I'll do that. But if I get to 40, 45, stacked a lot away of my money, might move somewhere where the dollar goes a little bit further, different culture. Why not? You know what I mean? That's kind of where my mentality is. Like, there's nothing really tying me here besides the house. I'm not going to sell the house. I think this is going to go up in value. I can always knock some things down, make it into a full rental place, or I can keep it where I'm here, rent out the upstairs, rent out the basement. I just live here as my home base, so I have somewhere to come back when I go to the States and live it out like that. But it all comes back to, if I really want to get to where I want to get to, and this is the same thing for you guys, you have to raise your standard to that higher level, to another level, and you have to do things different than how you did before. The 10x is easier. 10x is easier than 2x, because 2x means you're working doubly as hard. 10x means you're just doing different activities in the same amount of time you've had allotted. And then going back to the beginning, the more you're exposed to things, the more your mind opens, the more you realize that you're playing small in this world, and that you need to play big. If you really want to get what you want out of this life, you're going to need to play big. You need to to quote Robert Greene, move into actions with boldness. And there's certain things that I know that we all do. I have my own vices. One vice in particular I know, and it's been on the channel. I don't want to rehash it, but that you have to put a handle on if you want to get to that next level. And it's not about what other people say is the reason why. It's really all up to you. So just to summarize everything I covered, number one, exposure expands your mind. Expose yourself to things. Think bigger, play bigger, because you playing small is the reason why you're getting small results. Number two, 10x is easier than 2x. It's easier for you to get exponential growth than incremental growth. Incremental growth is going to lead to overwork and burnout. Exponential growth is going to lead to revolutionizing your thinking, your planning, and then upping of your standard. And then the last one, which is going to be upping your standard, is the way to move. That processes are what take you to the goal, not the goal itself. But if you kind of increase your mind and increase that goal, understand that 10x is easier than 2x, and make 10x your focus, and then increase your standards to align with that 10x, to align with that big thinking. I'm going to tie in that last book. Be who you are now. Think of the person who you want to be and do what they do now. And if you do that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you'll be everything you were thinking of and wanted to be, because you're doing it now. So that's really it for this one. If you like the content, like, dislike. If you didn't like it, comment, subscribe. Any feedback will do. I know I've said this a billion times. I'll be consistent on this. This time, it's got to be the time, because I'm getting a little old. 35 is right around the corner. But until next time, you know what it is. Peace.